Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce. Joyce, we're here to continue on with the Oscars 2024. Can't wait.
Wow, what an opening.
We've been talking about what we got to do. We're going to do our DGA and ADG picks later. Emails, of course. And then just going through the news roundup. Not a lot this week, but London film critics weighed in. David Ehrlich tweeted that he thinks Zone of Interest is going to win Best Picture.
Do you have a new bet going with him on
I
that?
didn't even text him about it because I was just that's just too embarrassing. But I did make fun of him to other people if he's watching.
I feel like you can make another quick 20 if you bet on him.
I could put that in my Venmo slush fund.
Yeah.
Joyce, we were talking about this before we started recording. London film critics, big fans of Zone of Interest and All of Us Strangers. Not so much Barbie and Oppenheimer.
No. And also Anatomy of a Fall. So they love Sandra Hüller's movies, but not her.
Correct.
Yeah.
Makes sense, right?
I don't know if it makes sense, but I think a lot of people who wanted Sandra, or like stumping for Sandra for the Oscar and BAFTA, this wasn't great for her to lose Actress of the Year to Emma Stone.
So we've talked about this, I think, in our column and then with our faces as well. I feel like Emma is just lining up. It's just all lining up to win. And I think even if she loses at SAG, I don't believe she'll lose at BAFTA. And even if she lost at BAFTA, I still think she could win Best Actress, I guess, would be the long and short of it.
Well, her winning this London bodes well for her winning BAFTA, even though they're completely different groups, obviously. But it's still British sensibility or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, European flair. There's a European flair to this.
And then it's the fact that, Sandra is a Euro star too, and they clearly love two of her movies. And she still didn't win.
So not great Bob.gif if you're pulling for the Sandra upset.
Yeah, but great for Emma Stone. And yeah, she can definitely just clean up the rest of the way.
So Poor Things I feel like is having a great moment. Tell me if you agree. It won Robbie Ryan won BSC.
The BSC, which to me is Babysitter's Club, but it's the British Society of Cinematographers.
It could also be the College Football Championship, right?
It's true, but it's always BSC to me first because that's when I was reading when I was a child.
So Babysitter's Club, then which? The cinematographers or the football players?
No, cinematographers is last.
It has to be last.
I learned of that last in my life.
It certainly has to be last. But yeah, Robbie Ryan wins over Hoyte van Hoytema there. Tell me if you think this is are we going to look back at this and say this is a potential where Oppenheimer loses Best Cinematography in an upset to?
No, I think that's fine. He'll Hoyte will probably still win ASC.
Right.
But no, I think more in general, it probably bodes well for Things not getting blanked at the Oscars, if that's what you were thinking could happen to it.
I actually now think it could win many.
I have it winning 2 currently. I haven't touched my predictions since nominations.
we talked about this last week. We did our early predictions. I think I have it now winning 3 because I split production design and costume design, which is probably foolish. And then I have a winning makeup and I have a winning Emma Stone. But I'll just say this. I think Oppenheimer is going to win cinematography too. But here's the last few winners. So All Quiet won here last year. The year before, Power of the Dog won. Dune won the Oscar. And then Mank won the year before. 1917 won the year before. Roma won the year before. Blade Runner won the year before that. And then Nocturnal Animals won over La La Land. So it's possible, I think, that this could be a thing. But I also feel like maybe this is more like Power of the Dog, Dune versus Oppenheimer and Poor Things, even though they're not a great a great comp. But I think that maybe is what we'll see here.
Look, if you're a Poor Things fan, then it's been a great couple days for you.
Pretty good, I would say. Yeah, it's doing well at the box office. It feels like the backlash happened already, and then is now.
I mean, there wasn't really
to the backlash.
Backlash. Did you see um the clip that their official account tweeted yesterday? It was like a Q&A between Emma Stone and Olivia Colman.
I did.
Favorite
I was
reunion?
almost gonna. I might write that up later for our website because I thought it was so well. Emma Stone had such a great answer, and
Yeah, so
kudos
like
to the press team for figuring out what to say.
yeah, so if no one saw that, and if no one's gonna read Chris's upcoming story,
No,
we can just recap it right now. It's like a 90-second clip.
yeah,
But basically, Olivia was talking about, or like she was complimenting Emma on being a producer, and like, you know, she's in charge, and like, you know, she's the boss and everything. And Emma talked about how, yeah, like she's a producer, and it irked her how the discourse around the film was that it has a male writer and a male director, and it was like about the male gaze, and it was just slighting her and infantilizing her when she was a producer on the film. Like she had no say in like how much nudity would be in the film, and like, you know, and she was like, this is the movie the three of us wanted to make, you know.
mm-hmm.
So that was the clip that
It's a great
we
clip.
created.
I love that. This is something we've talked about. The idea that a lot of times it's so progressive and that you're infantilizing people.
A woman specifically, because
Yes.
last week we were talking about Barbie.
Yes, same thing. That we were talking about with Barbie with regard to Margot Robbie producing this movie and people being like, man, I can't believe that she let them give Ryan Gosling such a
Or
great
like
role.
she let Ryan run roughshod over her with "I'm Just Ken" when he had absolutely no say about that song at all.
Uh, other little data points here from last week at the Grammys, Joyce. Big winner was "What Was I Made For" by Billie Eilish.
And also, Abby won soundtrack for
Yeah,
Ludwig.
I was I was like, oh, well, I mean, like again, I think we both have "What Was I Made For" winning, and like talked about the possibility that something could not win there, but it just feels like that is like that is a locking in really strongly, I would say, based on the response to the
Yeah,
Grammy
I mean,
win.
I've always had it,
Yeah.
so you know, Billy is going to be a two-time Oscar winner at the age of 22.
So where would that
Congrats.
place her in the history of Oscars?
Very, very young.
How many under
She'll
20?
also be, well, like just like in terms of like current chronological age years, you know, like she'll be the youngest, like for sure, like 22. Come
Pretty
on.
crazy.
She was born in 2001.
Hard to speculate further, but I mean, this is a Billie Eilish could end up with like there's really no reason she couldn't end up with many Oscars in her life based on this.
She's just like I don't I'm not calling her an industry plant, but it's just like the industry, like all industries just love her,
Yeah.
you know?
I think
So
I think that's right. I'm like she could win like 4 Oscars. She could be like 5 Oscars. She's
it was
22
like
years old.
she didn't need to win for No Time to Die. Again, a song I still haven't heard. But and then yeah, so now she's gonna beat Diane Warren twice.
It reminds me of like Tiger Woods, right? In the beginning of his career, it was just like, man, this guy's gonna win like a lot of majors because he's so young and he's so good, and like no one is beating him.
Or, you know, Roger Federer.
I don't I understood the Tiger reference that I made, not the Roger Federer one. Is
Get
he
out of
good?
here.
He's good? Yeah.
Get out of here.
So what else did I see this weekend scrolling around the internet, making myself mad? Vulture did its annual Oscar villain piece. Did you see that, Joyce? It was
I
Maestro.
did, but I did not read it
I
because I'm
read
like,
it. It was a lot of what we said previously. It was more, I was more interested in the idea that it's like we had talked about how Oppenheimer has actually avoided somehow,
yes.
deftly avoided becoming an Oscar villain at all, based because of movies like Maestro and Barbie and the Barbie discourse. Like it's a rare. I just find it incredibly rare in this era to have a frontrunner like Oppenheimer make it through almost unscathed. It's hard to imagine something now that would turn it into a villain at this point.
Yeah. I don't know what that would be like. It's just managed to minimize the target on its back. And like the target has always been there, but I think there's also just even like from like the industry sense is like I think people, even if it's not their favorite movie of the year, I think there's a sense is like this is great for our industry in general, and like they want to see it rewarded.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like it's a prestige adult drama that did gangbusters, you know, and it like, you know, saved theaters and cinema with Barbie, of course. But I think they like seeing that kind of success, and like Nolan's been around as well too. So it's like even like his quote unquote narrative or whatever, it's like it's his time, you can say, but it's like that also hasn't been, beaten to death either.
No, it's an amazing like tightrope walk they've managed to do. I can't imagine. I don't know. There's not one recent movie or recent winner, I would say, that has had this kind of like nuanced
Yeah, and the thing is
balance.
like it's like they all is like the like audiences love it too. So it's like this is like
Right.
a perfect like marriage, like a platonic ideal of a film we do want to recognize. And the thing is like it's not even like the OPBE team has been hidden. Like they've been campaigning, like they've been everywhere.
Yeah. I'm trying to think like recent history. Like so like in terms of like the narrative, I'm like all like everything everywhere, even though it was a complete steamroller, did have the veneer of an underdog at times because
It
it's
was
like
a
a
total
hit
underdog.
24, even though it was like a heavy favorite. Coda obviously underdog. Nomadland was like I think that's just a weird year, obviously because of COVID, but like that was it was also an underdog because it's such a small movie and like had the twist of being unlike any other movie that maybe has ever won Best Picture, right? Like that kind of thing. Parasite was a huge underdog, or wasn't really, but like had that veneer. Green Book,
It was an underdog that became a phenomenon.
right. Green Book, sure, just seemed like I don't know. Shape of Water, maybe is that like because I feel like Oppenheimer is much better than Shape of Water, but
Yeah,
Shape
and
of
then
Water similarly never really became a villain, I guess.
well, three billboards was the villain.
Right. Moonlight, Spotlight, Birdman, 12 Years a Slave. I don't know. I'm just like, I can't really, it maybe you'd have to go back to like, I don't know, Lord of the Rings Return. This feels like, I mean, it honestly feels like
Well,
that,
it's a,
maybe.
like Oppie winning. If it wins, it's like Return of the King because it's
Yeah.
like huge blockbuster,
Yeah.
and it's not gonna win like 11 or 13 for 13, I guess. You'd say
It wouldn't
it's
go
not gonna
13 for
win,
13, but
like,
it could win. I mean, last year, everything ever won 7 Oscars last year. Is that right?
yes.
Prior to that, what was the most the Best Picture winner won?
Well, in the preferential era,
Yeah.
Blocker won 6, but that was mostly below the line,
Right.
whereas Oppie could have, above the line and below the line equally ish. So,
Yeah.
and like Everything Everywhere was mostly above the line last year. It just the below the line was just editing.
3 acting Oscars, Joyce.
Insane.
Jamie Lee Curtis is an Oscar winner for Everything Ever All at Once.
I can't wait for her to present to Robert Downey Jr.
It's going to be great. They could talk. She'll mention nepo babies, and then he'll be
Yeah,
like,
she'll be, lecturing everyone about how she is not a nepo baby.
right.
But I think we don't need to get into nepo babies, but people misunderstand what it means.
I speaking of nepo babies, I saw. Did you see Francesca Scorsese's interview with
Yes,
Vanity Fair? I thought that was good. Love her.
great. Yeah,
Great stuff.
I
I
love
got to
that
say though, I
he
tried to
acts
watch them.
like I love that he pretends like he hasn't seen his movies when he watches it with her.
That was great. That's me. Listen, he's like pretty bird, pretty bird. You know, like looking at himself and like, that's great. I'm like, oh man, I do that all the time. Like, oh man, I would go back
You
and
made
read
this
old
dude.
tweets, listen to this, watch this shit back, and be like, that's great. Love this. Uh, Joyce, we're gonna do some picks. DGA Awards are this weekend. Can you stand the excitement?
No.
So we're gonna do all the categories here. There's TV and film. These are our winner picks. I think we could go through them pretty quick. I have Christopher Nolan winning Best Director at the DGA
You're
Awards for
not even
Oppenheimer.
gonna read the nominees.
The other
Wow.
nominees are Martin Scorsese, Greta Gerwig, Yorgos Lanthimos, and Alexander Payne. The lineup of Best Director nominees that many would have maybe preferred to what we got based on the internet discourse.
But I don't know about you, but I had this DJ lineup for ages, and I was like, this is not gonna be the Oscar lineup.
It was a no-brainer DGA lineup.
Yeah. Yeah. Nolan. He'll finally win.
I'm excited to see. I love the way the DGA does it because they do those like tributes, right? And people talk and like that's always fun. I'll
They
be
get
curious.
their medallion because yeah, they get each nominee gets
Yeah.
a tribute from someone associated with their film or whatever, and then they get a medallion. And it was great in like the early internet days and like pre-social media when you were just like waiting for the winner, and you would see like photos on the wire on like Getty Images or something or like AP, and it's like the nominee holding a medallion, and you couldn't tell if it was the nominee medallion or the winner medallion.
Great. Yeah, I love this ceremony, so I'm excited to see like that aspect of it. I'd assume like Downey would do Nolan, right? Like, I mean, it's got to be like part of the campaign trail at
I
this
don't know. I
point.
don't know if they've like announced presenters or
I don't know
whatever
if
yet.
they have either, but I would not be surprised to see Downey up there regaling us about how great Nolan is, or Emily Blunt maybe, or both. First time directing, Joyce. The nominees were Celine Song, Cord Jefferson, A.B. Rockwell, Manuela Martelli for Chile 76, and Noura Nisari for Shadia. I have Celine Song winning for Past Lives.
I do too, and I have Cord in second.
I have A.B. Rockwell in second and Cord in third. I think if Cord Jefferson wins this, I would frankly be a little surprised because I just don't think people are considering him as a director, and that's not a strength of the film.
No, I think it's more, I have him in second more because like the film
Yes.
is strong. But I think Celine will probably win. And
if Cord wins, I would say that would add grist to the mill of him winning adapted screenplay, which I know you already have, but I still have Oppenheimer. But I think this would be another little data point to be like, oh yeah, this industry loves American fiction.
remember when Bo Burnham beat Bradley Cooper? When
Yes.
Bradley was nominated in the main category?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yet somehow 8th grade not nominated for original screenplay.
And he won WGA and said, like, enjoy the Oscars, losers, or something. It's great.
If 8th grade was nominated for original screenplay, it would have won, do you think?
I don't think it would have won because of Green Book. It should have won.
It might have won, let's say.
And now I don't think it should have, but
couldn't even nominate it. What happened there? Sometimes these nominations are so strange. Just like, what? Such an easy miss. I almost wonder if it's like people are just like, oh, somebody else will nominate it. Like sometimes when you get these misses, I just don't understand.
No, I think, well, in that case, I think it could just be kind of like teen bias too. It's like they don't want to watch that type of movie either. So I don't know.
We can't relitigate every Oscar race, Joyce, just most of them. For documentary, I don't know this one. Here are the nominees in odds order. It's still 20 Days in Mariupol, Beyond Utopia, Kokomo City, and Bobby Wine, People's President. I actually have Bobby Wine winning this. I have no idea why. I just think it's like potentially gonna win. I still is the favorite. I guess Davis Guggenheim could win, sure, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I have still, but I think I don't remember doing this. I think I just put it in there so I can move on.
Sure. Still could win, like we said, like it was but it didn't get nominated the Oscars, but this is different group.
That doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Different group, broader group, right? More basic in their membership.
It's a way bigger membership too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Easily win.
Yeah. That's what
I just was like, I don't know. I feel like Bobby Wine could be like Bobby or Bobby, Joyce first.
Bobby.
Okay. I feel like that could maybe split the difference between like crowd pleasing and like, I don't know, I don't know. I'm like, is it like, just still seems like so basic. I don't know. I guess it could win, but I don't know.
I don't like it's probably is like the most seen of these. And then it has like the, cachet of Michael J. Fox.
So last year,
they were campaigning a lot too, and it won a bunch of Emmys already.
So last year, Fire of Love won.
Yes.
Year before, Attica.
Mm-hmm.
The year before that, Truffle Hunters. None of
I
these
love
won
the Truffle
Oscars.
Hunters.
None of these won Oscars. Then before that, American Factory. did win an Oscar. Three Identical Strangers, City of Ghosts, OJ Made in America, Cartel Land. I don't know. I'm just like, Davis Guggenheim could definitely win.
Yeah, and
But
like Attica beat Summer of Soul,
mhm.
right? Yeah.
I just am like, it just
I don't know.
feels, I don't know. I'm gonna stick. Any of these you can make a
You know
case
what?
for.
I'm willing to get this one wrong.
Yeah, just go with the fave and get it wrong.
I don't care.
Davis has
Sometimes
never won,
you
but
just
he's
have
got
to accept like
2
you're
nominations.
gonna take an L on something and it's fine.
Yeah,
I
this
don't
is
need
gonna
to
be
get
an
all of
L.
them right.
All right. We're gonna go to TV, Joyce. We can't wait. Can't shirk TV. Directing for drama. Tell me if you've heard of this show, Succession. These are the nominees. Last of Us, long time, and then Succession, America Decides, Succession, Connor's Wedding, Succession, Rehearsal,
Day
and
party.
Succession, Tailgate Party. So 4 Succession episodes, and I have Connor's
Live like 2 years ago.
and I have Connor's wedding winning.
I do too. And I think long time is first in the odds.
Right now, it looks like Connor's Wedding has now usurped it.
Oh, okay. Because I remember when I did these predictions,
Yes.
which were pre-Emmys,
Yes.
long time was in first. And I was like, no, I'm doing Connor's Wedding. And
Uh,
then after the Emmys, I felt really good about having Connor's Wedding.
how would you rank these Succession episodes on your own personal preference?
My personal preference, let me see. I would do Connor's Wedding, America Decides, Tailgate, and Rehearsal.
I would do America Decides, Connor's Wedding, Tailgate, and Rehearsal. I think America Decides is just the best. Love that one. So good.
It's a great episode. But yeah, like I basically went with Connor's Wedding because I see this not as a 1 versus 4, but a 1 show versus 1 show.
Yep.
And all the Succession support will funnel, or most of the Succession support will funnel to Connor's Wedding. And then it managed to be the first show to overcome the triple vote split at the Emmys in directing for Connor's Wedding. So yeah, I'm sticking with that. And Mark Mylod has won before here. Like he had never won an Emmy for directing before, but he won DGA before. So I think it can do it.
My favorite Entourage director, Mark Mylod.
Are you done with your rewatch?
Oh yeah, and the movie, Joyce. You
Of
follow me
course.
on Letterboxd to get the movie review.
I'm never joining Letterboxd, and you know that.
Okay. For comedy directing, Joyce, these were the nominees: The Bear for Fishes, Barry, Wow, Ted Lasso, So Long, Farewell, The Bear, Honeydew, and Ted Lasso, La Locker Room of Fall. I have The Bear Fishes winning.
You know what I have?
Barry.
Of course. Bill Hader, my guy, 4 for 4.
Do you think he's gonna win here?
This is the perfect scenario for him to win the double vote split.
Do you
Like
think there would be a double vote slip?
This is how like Susanna Fogel won for Flight Attendant, and then everyone started predicting her for the Emmy later on, and she lost that to Hacks. But you know, my guy, Bill Hader, they love him here. He's undefeated at DGA. He every year or every season, he loses the Emmy, and then he goes on to win DGA for the same fucking episode.
So
Still doesn't have an Emmy for directing. And listen, I remember last year you were mocking me because I had Bill, of course, for 710 North, and you had White Lotus. Like everyone had White Lotus for Mike White. I'm like, no, Bill, all the way. And he won.
I've Bill in second. Could easily happen. I just think the Bear is so beloved. I just am not going to bet against the Bear and not against Chris Storer, who directed Fishes, I believe.
Oh no, like I have Fishes in second.
Everything you said is right. I think he could easily win, but I'm going to stick with the Bear because I think the Bear is so beloved by the industry that they're going to go with the Bear.
I also think like Honeydew is underrated. Like everyone just talks about Fishes because it's loud and yelly.
Honeydew is underrated, but I also think it's not like, I think it's kind of like Connor's Wedding style. I don't think it would actually siphon off enough votes here to split it off. I think it's like The Fishes is the episode.
I also think like Fishes is like the episode. Like I know this doesn't matter in terms of like votes, but like to me, the way I look at season 2 of The Bear, like Fishes is the episode that everyone talks about, but the actual better episode is Forks. I know I've said this a million times, and I feel like Chris should be going with Forks because he hasn't directed that one, but I know he won't because like Fishes is the bigger episode overall. But I think Fishes works mostly because of the actors and the kind of dialogue that episode has, whereas Forks is more successful because of the acting, the writing, and the directing, like as a whole. And the directing style in Forks is also so different from the rest of the show too. Like I don't think Fishes is like that different from what the show usually is, you know?
No, totally great. If Bill wins, I would not be surprised. I'm going to get it wrong, though. I'm going to go down with the Bear ship. I just feel like the Bear is just locked in.
You know, like even if there weren't double bears here, I probably would still have Bill because like I gotta close this out with him.
You got to take it all the way.
Yeah, like if he doesn't win, that's fine because I stuck it out with him. So
for limited series or movie directing at the DGAs, Joyce, here are the nominees: All the Light We Cannot See, Daisy Jones and the Six, the finale, and then 3 episodes of Lessons in Chemistry, The Introduction to Chemistry, Perot, and Her and Him. And I have probably biased because I interviewed her, but I have Daisy Jones and the Six for Nzinga.
Well, I also interviewed her, and I also have Daisy Jones and the Six, not because I interviewed her.
Just a great episode of TV. And I think the Lessons in Chemistry episodes will split, and I'm not sure people care about All the Light We Cannot See. That's my big takeaway.
No, but yeah, I think Daisy will just take it, and it's like the bigger episode. So like Beef is not here, which is like ostensibly a snub, but I think because like it might come back as an anthology, that it was submitted in comedy.
Yeah.
Because that's the DGA rule. Like if it's anthology, you can't be limited. So if Beef were here, if they had different rules,
Beef would win. Yeah. And then for variety series directing, the nominees are Saturday Night Live, Last Week Tonight, Colbert, Daily Show, Trevor Noah, and Real Time with Bill Maher. And I have Saturday Night Live.
Same.
What else is there to say? So this should be a fun DGA ceremony. I think
it'll be a long DGA ceremony.
Judd Apatow will host again, I believe. He did a great job last year, if I remember correctly. And so I look forward to watching the winners on Twitter.
Yeah, it'll end at like 1 a.m. Eastern. I'll be back in New York by then.
Right.
I'm in Pasadena specifically, right? So
I'll wake up and look at the winners on Twitter because I will not be up at 1 a.m. And then we're going to do our Art Director Guild winners, Joyce. When are those? Saturday as well or Sunday?
The same day. Yeah.
Can't go up against the Super Bowl, Joyce. We should do our Super Bowl picks later.
Well, I know you're going to have the Niners.
Well, I have the Niners on a long-term bet, and then I'm going to hedge the bet with the Chiefs. So we'll talk about this.
You can't do that.
Yeah, you can. You gotta win something. Art Directors Guild. So here are a bunch of nominees. Period design is first. The nominees were Oppenheimer, Flower Moon, Asteroid City, Maestro, and Napoleon. And I have Oppenheimer winning.
Yes, I think most people have the same winners for the film category.
Probably. Oppenheimer, I mean, would not win. Well, it's up against other films. So, but I do wonder if it's like a sneaky contender here, if for like production design.
You mean at the Oscars?
At the Oscars, I don't think it's gonna win based on like Barbie and Poor Things being there as well. But like, it's not completely fantastical that it would win. I guess if they're just
at the Oscars, no. Like if it's just gonna sweep everything. Yeah. Like it's right now. This is not one of the predicted categories.
No,
for it to win, but it can for sure.
It can. For film fantasy design, here's where the top contenders of the Oscars are. Poor Things, Barbie, Wonka, The Creator, and Guardians of the Galaxy are the nominees. And I have Poor Things winning here I don't know. I guess over
And
Barbie.
Barbie.
I basically should switch to Poor Things or Barbie in all of these, but I'm gonna go Poor Things here, I guess, and we'll see. If Barbie wins, would you feel more confident about it winning at the Oscars, or if Poor Things
No,
wins, would you feel more confident about winning at the Oscars?
no.
Okay.
I don't think like I think well, if Poor Things wins, it'll be more of like a surprise, quote unquote, because like Barbie is the favorite. Um, but I don't think it's like Poor Things is always has always been in the hunt
Right.
to win. It's not like an outside like surprise winning.
Right. Like if Poor Things or Barbie wins the Oscar, most people are gonna be like, had one of those.
Yeah, like it's not
Oppenheimer
like
would be a
neither
surprise.
is a dark horse.
Right.
So like winning the guild, like that's great, obviously. So um it doesn't mean I'll match up, but
Right.
you know,
Next is Contemporary Design at the Art Directors Guild. Nominees were Saltburn, John Wick 4, Beau is Afraid, The Killer, and Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I have Saltburn winning.
same.
Uh, Great movie. Still great.
This will be like its big win of the season,
Unless it gets something at BAFTA. What if it gets something at BAFTA, Joyce?
but like Jacob Elordi
Yeah.
eating RDJ.
Yeah. No, what? Yeah. Yeah.
But you have winning score over.
It could win score. Great score. Animated film, Spider-Verse, Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Mario Brothers. And I have Spider-Verse.
Same.
Into the TV section, The Town, The Crown. There's
The Town, I
The
wish.
Town. TV 1 hour period, single. The Crown, Gilded Age, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, The Great, and Perry Mason. Remember Perry Mason, Joyce?
I like Perry Mason. It was
I know
never
you
gonna
did.
come back, but
I have The Crown winning this.
this I am torn between The Crown and The Gilded Age.
I have Gilded Age in second, so.
Last year Pachinko won, which was a great poll. I currently have Gilded Age. Maybe I'll just stick with that. I don't know.
Why not?
Might change it now. What I did on January 19th.
TV 1 hour fantasy nominees were Last of Us, Mandalorian, Loki, For All Mankind, and Silo, and I have Last of Us.
Yes, I wish it was Loki though.
Pretty great, but I don't think it'll be Loki. And Last of Us is pretty cool too. For contemporary, nominees are Succession, Fargo, Poker Face, Yellow Jackets, and The Morning Show. And I have Succession winning.
I do too. And yeah,
I have The
so
Morning Show in second.
I have Fargo in
Most
second.
people have Fargo in second, I think.
Yeah, great sets, beautiful sets. Yeah, like Succession is for America Decides, and that is great production design because I don't think it's like a new-ish set. We see more of ATN, right? But it's a place we're already familiar with. And I think it's also not distracting at all.
I interviewed the production designer specifically about
it.
America Decides.
Even harder.
It was great. And they had to do a lot of like the TVs, all that stuff is like really well thought out, I would say.
Yeah, like I think it situates you really well in this new several new sets. But yeah, like it's not distracting.
No,
And
it's great.
yeah.
And then for limited series, Beef, Daisy Jones, All the Light We Cannot See, Lessons in Chemistry, and Murder at the End of the World. And I have Beef.
Same.
If Daisy Jones in second would be nice to see, but not sure that's going to happen. For half hour single camera, The Bear, Only Murders, Our Flag Means Death, What We Do in the Shadows, and Reservation Dogs. And I have The Bear.
I have Only Murders.
Why?
Because it's showier. And like the Bears sets, the episode is Omelette, which is like the penultimate episode. So it's like when they're almost ready for friends and family. Great set, beautiful set, the restaurant, like the redesign. And I interviewed the production designer, Mary Vetsky, but I don't know.
What about like Our Flag Means Death? That's like a surprise winner here.
I mean, if you want to.
I think it could happen. I feel like these are going to be like maybe defaulting to the obvious ones, and then something like that happens.
I don't know. Like, I think they're capable of having interesting picks just based on like, you know, Pachinko last year too. Like that beat The Crown and The Gilded Age last year.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, like Our Flag Means Death won last year, so
maybe I'll switch to that now to make it different. I'm going to do that.
yeah.
And then finally, in this, we have two more here. TV multi-camera, Frasier, The Connors, Bob Hart's Abishola, The 90s Show, That 90s Show, and Bunked. I have Frasier winning this.
Same.
Big Frasier fan, Joyce?
Original Frasier. I have not watched this one.
And then for TV variety or competition, Squid Game, The Challenge, Saturday Night Live, History of the World, Black Lady Sketch Show, and RuPaul's Drag Race. And I have Squid Game winning.
Same.
And those are the Art Director Guild.
Same night as DGA.
Can't wait.
It'll end before DGA ends, though.
And then Sunday's the Super Bowl, Joyce. Can't wait.
So you bet on the Niners.
So I had a long-term bet on the Niners. Beginning of the season. You could bet who's going to win the Super Bowl. Pick the Niners. So I got that just sitting there. Just writing it out. Was a little hairy there against the Lions and against the Packers. I'm like, I'm holding on tight. Here we go. So that'll pay out. Now I'm like, I really think the Chiefs are going to win. So I want to kind of hedge the bet on the Niners, picking the Chiefs and trying to figure out how. I think I would probably do the Chiefs money line, Joyce, instead of the points. I think the Niners are still a 2.5-point favorite. So I think the Chiefs.
I don't do any of that. I don't really care who wins because I was initially just rooting for Joe Flacco during his mini run.
Okay.
Because we went to college together. And
did you know Joe Flacco?
No, I didn't know him. So we're the same.
Buried lead here. I didn't know this.
We're the same age, but I was ahead of him academically because he transferred over because he didn't play in his first school. And then he couldn't play until my junior year. So I only was in school because I also graduated early. So I did not spend much time at school at all. But I did like meet him because he came to our student newspaper one time. So we're not friends, but, you know, proud alum, you know, when I get the alumni email, it's like him all like last year or 2 years ago, like the alumni like magazine, it was just like a profile on him, like his giant face on the cover. It was about like him, you know, like his like twilight years, like where he was like, you know, how he still wants to play, he doesn't want to retire yet and all that. So yeah, and then obviously the Browns lost.
Not great.
But you know, expected. And then obviously I went to root for the Lions because that's Eminem's team.
Okay. I was wondering, why you were into the Lions. That makes sense now.
Obviously, come on. And yeah, and then I also did not watch any of the Lions playoff games. I didn't watch the first one because I thought they were going to lose. Like seriously, I thought they were going to lose. And we were also recording an episode for Critics' Choice that night too. And because that was why I was at my friend's house.
Right.
I watched the game. And then they won. So then I was like, I'm not gonna watch any of their remaining games because I didn't watch this one and they won. So I didn't watch last or 2 weeks ago. And they were winning for most of the game and then fucked it up.
complete choke job.
Yeah. So then I was also like, if they make it to the Super Bowl, I am not gonna watch the game. I'll just watch Usher. Like the
Yeah.
halftime show.
Uh, yeah, I haven't really watched a lot, but I would as I so I got I still think the Chiefs just have the mojo, Joyce. That's what I feel like.
Yeah.
The vibes. The
So,
vibes are really good. But San Francisco's great. So I don't know. I have Kelsey winning MVP. Those were good odds as well.
yeah, I probably won't even watch the game either. Again, I'll just tune into the halftime show. I don't care who wins.
Halftime show is Usher, sure. Not a
Great.
big Usher
I
fan.
can't. Wow, rude. I love Usher. I just love now, like all the halftime acts are just people I grew up with, like, which is great for me. Like that's when I know I'm old, because this reminds me of like 20 years ago after Nipplegate. And they're like, we can't have anything like that again. So they start booking like The Who. I mean, like I love The Who and like Bruce and everyone, but it was like we have to book like old acts. So now this is nostalgia for me, because when they book Usher.
It's pretty rad. I was thinking that the other day when I was at the grocery store at Trader Joe's, and it's like, oh man, all these songs are bangers. I'm like, I'm so old.
They're the best. I love them
Just
so
so
much.
old. And we'll get some Super Bowl commercials, Choice. There was one today for Quiet Place Day One, which looked pretty cool.
I saw that, but I did not watch it.
Looked great. You know, it's a cool movie, A Quiet Place. They're fine, but I'm like, I'm into this. Sure. Just we have some emails we could do. Emailed us at slugfest@goldderby.com. This first one is from Ricari, who has emailed us before. Do you think Paul Giamatti could win Best Actor at BAFTA? I think he could, because they could try their best not to repeat next year at BAFTA, where all the acting wins don't match the Oscars, and go with the most likely Oscar pick. I think not repeat last year, not next year, but
yeah, I was like, what? I was like, we already know the winners of next year. I don't think anyone votes that way. It's like, oh shit, we went 0 for 4 with the Oscars. Can't be doing that.
Right. I don't think it's far-fetched that he wins BAFTA.
No.
He got nominated, and like,
but that would not be the reason if he wins.
Yeah. I am not expecting him to win BAFTA at all. I still think he has a really good shot at winning SAG.
Yes.
But
I
at
think
the same
most
time,
people will think the most people think the split is Killian BAFTA and Paul SAG.
The thing with SAG, though, even though he's a beloved SAG actor, Oppenheimer is still the biggest movie that we know everyone saw and really liked. And so that leads me to believe that Killian would probably be able to win SAG as well.
Yeah. And also, like, all of his wins came before the merger. Wait, let me see if because the merger was in 2012. And let me make sure. Yeah, so his last win for Too Big to Fail, remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Barely in it, he won. And then his other ones were for John Adams, Cinderella Man, and Sideways Ensemble. So those are all pre-merger, and I could definitely see when it's just SAG, just the actors, in the tank for him, obviously. Paul Giamatti, the best. Love Paul Giamatti. And like an actor's actor, right? So it's not like he's been nominated a ton since the merger. So his nominations since then were just in Ensemble for 12 Years a Slave and Straight Outta Compton. Iconic performance.
Pretty great, Straight Outta Compton.
And now The Holdovers. So he's never been individually nominated post-merger until now. So now with AFTRA part of this, the voting body, and it's humongous. I don't know if I think everyone does love Paul. I think, like radio people, DJs and influencers do love Paul Giamatti, but I don't know if they have the same reverence for him as an actor that his peers do when he's also up against Oppie, like a huge movie. And I think Killian has his basic stands too. Not just his Killian stands, but just regular fans.
Peaky Blinders, pretty popular show.
Peaky Blinders stands are insane. Very popular show. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, I think, The Holdovers is a movie I think a lot of people would obviously like. So it's not like it's like he's got like a problem with the movie. You know what I mean? Like it's not like he's like in the arty movie. But I just think Oppenheimer is so big, I actually might go Killian there as well for SAG. I don't know. I haven't made my final picks there yet, obviously.
Yeah. And then like BAFTA, well, BAFTA is first.
Right.
I feel like if Killian wins at BAFTA, you'll just go with Killian at SAG. But then, okay, so if Paul wins at BAFTA, will you
I
do
mean, if
Paul?
Paul wins a BAFTA, I'd put him right at the top to win the Oscar. I just think like that would really show a lot of support for him.
Yeah. And then we talked about this last week and how, like the argument for Killian BAFTA, it's not because he's Irish, but like because he has the type of role, the biopic role that they usually like to reward there. And like the past 2 years, it's like been flipped where the American nominee has the biopic role, like Austin Butler and Will Smith, against an Irishman or a Brit. So yeah, but if Paul wins, I don't think it's a reaction to BAFTA not matching with the Oscars last year. I don't think they care. I think people following awards care. I hate when people talk about how like BAFTA got it wrong last year because it went over 8 above the line. I'm like, they didn't get it wrong. They just made their own choices.
Correct. It's not right
They
if
just
the
they
Oscars
didn't
pick
match
it.
the
Right.
Oscars, but it's not wrong. They just made their own picks.
Right.
So
This one's from Harold and Maud, who emailed us at slugfest@goldderby.com. An old pal. Hi, Joyce and Chris. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to start by saying I'm very proud of myself and anyone else who predicted Indiana Jones in original score. I think it's a terrible nomination, but I called it since the movie came out, so it became my identity for this award season. I also wanted to ask about Lily Gladstone and if you guys think her strength to win has sort of died down, because I sort of think it has. I never would have thought this because since New York Film Critics Circle, it seemed like everyone had decided she was undeniably the best performance of the year and weren't going to accept anything else. But after losing Critics' Choice and missing out on the BAFTA nomination, it sort of becomes hard to say, well, the next awards just have to give it to her when all the signs are seemingly pointing towards Emma Stone. I'd be happy of either one, but I believe Lily to be undoubtedly a supporting performance, and with the rest of the field having at least 50% screen time, it seems like catching up to her a little bit. That's from Harold and Maud.
so like what, like, do we think she can still win? Or
Yeah, I think so. Do you think she could still? We've talked about this, but I do think it's like back. It feels like a lot of things have like conspired to make Emma back into being the favorite, or maybe she was always the favorite. I guess you would arguably say.
I mean, yeah, like she could very well have always been the favorite among the industry. We just were not aware of that until more recently, because the early part of the season is just critics awards, and that's where Lily dominated. Not unsurprisingly, like critics love Killers of Flower Moon, Smarty, and they're very gung-ho about backing Lily's performance. And so I do think she had a lot of momentum from like the fall, like December, and it did really feel like after the Globes that she was in pole position and she could sweep. Like I definitely thought that, like after the Globes, she got 2 standing O's, like, and we know she's a great speaker. She gave a great speech. And yeah, it did feel that way. And then a week later, she lost Critics' Choice, which again is not industry, but it's like that's definitely one where like she was the favorite going in. Like that should have been an easy get for
Considering
her.
all the critics group thought after New York Film Critics Circle and gave her Best Actress, basically, that
Yeah.
she wouldn't win when people are actually voting tells me something. Like in public, when people are like, yes, we're giving Lily Gladstone an award, but when they're in the privacy of their voting windows
They actually
and they're
vote for
like
their favorite.
actually going to pick Emma Stone because I liked her more, tells me that the momentum she had was like a false prophecy, basically, from the
Yeah. And
critics.
then so like that was one thing. And it's like, oh, she could totally overcome that because it's not in industry. But then not getting the BAFTA nomination was another hit.
that one remains. That one is to me the big reason why I just was like, oh, she's now. I don't think she's going to win because I just think like we understand the way BAFTA is convoluted and like the jury stuff is weird. And maybe if it was the full, she probably would have gotten in if everybody was.
Yeah, I think if
voting.
it's just popular to the branch, the full branch, she would have been nominated.
And yet she's not nominated. And then I'm like, well, she's not going to win there, obviously. Then, and then even at SAG, you're like, if you like, we talked like if you look at history of SAG winners and Best Actress, she would be literally not just because she's the only Indigenous actress or Native American actress who's been, nominated there, but like would be like completely unlike any other Best Actress winner in the history of SAG based on the performance. I mean,
It would be, yeah, it would be a lot just on narrative, and you can't win alone on narrative.
not to say that it's a bad performance, but historically SAG prefers a bigger
they love showy stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And Emma definitely has that.
And I think, I mean, like the BAFTA thing is just, yeah, that was rough because her not being nominated not only told us that the jury obviously did not pick her, but she was not top 3.
Correct.
Right?
Which is
like
another
if she had been nominated, we would have not known either way. We would have just assumed she was top 3, right?
Yes, definitely.
But yeah, like that was bad because it was like she was not top 3 and
So
they didn't pick her. And it's like you can forget about the jury because it's like, the opinions of like 8 people or whatever. And another jury might have picked her, but this just told us during the mass voting, the round 1 voting in December when she had
the most
like
momentum.
the most momentum, arguably, and like peak buzz, when that was like right after she won New York. Again, this is like, I don't think they're paying attention to what like New York Critics Film Circle is doing and all these regionals here are doing. And she wasn't, top 3 back in December when that phase of voting was happening. And neither was the film and screenplay, apparently. So it took a hit there, the film in general. So yeah, I think like it sucks because I think it's like another Marty, like fading in phase 2 situation.
Yeah, like it's, and that was the other thing I was going to say. The other, almost a bigger issue to me too is that clearly Poor Things is ascendant in terms of its strength as a movie, whereas Flower Moon feels like it plateaued.
Yeah.
And so,
So
like, would they rather give Emma an Oscar? Like, maybe it's hard to be like, I can't believe Emma Stone's gonna have a second Oscar. And maybe some people do think that way. And obviously, the movie is not like without its criticisms or flaws. Poor Things, like obviously, like we said, like people have been coming for it a little bit. But I'm like, yeah, I think they actually clearly do. Like the movie is on the upswing, whereas Flower Moon is like not, and that kind of hurts in the end too because I just think like if more people like Poor Things and everybody's voting, then they're going to be like, well, I like Emma more, right? Because I like the movie more than Lily, even though Lily was also good. Maybe I put her in second.
I mean, I don't know if they look at like I think they can separate the film from the performance too, especially in Best Actress, like we know that does not have a lot of correlation with Best Picture, historically anyway. But so I think they can separate that even if they're not fans of either of their movies, let's say.
Sure.
But yeah, I think if you're just like comparing the performances, I don't know. It seems like, like Poor Things also is not doing poorly with like the general public either. Because like a movie can make a lot of money, but have bad, audience reception.
Right.
Just because you're seeing a movie doesn't mean you like it,
right.
but it has like pretty good like audience scores too. I don't know a regular person who's seen it. I don't know about you.
I don't know if I do either. Well, no, only people in media really, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but then I mean, more people who like normies who've seen Flower Moon.
The normies I know who've seen Flower Moon don't love it.
How do they feel about Lily?
Fine, good. She was good. Everybody's like, yeah, she was good. But I think if you were like, oh, is she gonna win? If you were like, would she win an Oscar? Maybe they'd be like, sure. I don't know. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it was like, it wasn't like you were blown away. And I do think in the end, part of the reason is like because it's such a big. She's still like, we talked about this. Like as a lead performance, it's not as big as like some of these other lead performances in terms of style and in terms of screen time.
Yeah, like she's like Michelle Williams in The Fablemans. Like this movie's an hour longer, but it's kind of like the same situation in a way.
All that said, though, like when I was talking to somebody the other day, they were like, I absolutely think Lily's going to win. Like, is she still, because I guess you would think she could win SAG. And even if she doesn't win SAG, maybe she still wins at the Oscars because like people are
She's
just
like
like,
going in with no industry awards
if she went in with no industry awards, I would say no. But I'm
dwindling
like,
momentum for her film.
I don't know. I'm like, I guess I could see it. Like, I don't know.
I think if like she doesn't win SAG, that's gonna be really rough. And especially if Emma wins both or BAFTA at least.
I know we talked about like Sandra Huller winning BAFTA. I'm more and more convinced Emma will win BAFTA. Like it's
Oh yeah, like I've always had Emma, and then
and,
like after London, I'm like, I'll just keep her.
and I think even if, like we said this, even if Lily wins SAG, I still would probably have Emma winning at the Oscars because I just think the large international body would seemingly is maybe way more in line with Emma than Lily, and way more in line with Poor Things and Flower Moon. And so I would probably stick with Emma. But if Lily doesn't win SAG, that would be tough to overcome.
Yeah, and I I don't know. Like I know, is she in first or second? Is Emma
Let me look.
first? Emma might be in first now because Lily missed BAFTA.
Let's take a look.
So
Emma's in first, about 500 points ahead of Lily. It's still close. But there you go.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, you were at the Gothams when she won, not for Killers of the Flower Moon.
So the reason I think the Gotham, it was like, oh my God. And
That was the first award show of the season.
And all the famous people were there, I think, which made it a little different than maybe other guys. Like it was like all like Barbie, you know what I mean? Because they gave away a lot of creator and innovator awards.
Yeah.
And so
Just
a lot of famous people.
And like creator and innovator tribute. Yeah.
And ampersands. So it was like Bradley Cooper, Leonardo DiCaprio, Greta Gerwig, Margot Robbie, like major A-list people, not just like, hey, the seventh lead from the Sundance Indie. You know, it was like real famous people. And they all were like, oh my God, we love Lily Gladstone. And so, and at the funny thing is at the time too, they also like Charles Melton, but not as much. And I was like, I think that materialized that he was more of a film Twitter fave than an industry fave.
Also won London.
And he did, yeah, I saw that. And I guess in the end, I mean, I was obviously she could still win. I'm not saying it's over, but like I think the enthusiasm for Lily is for Lily more than the movie and more than the performance even.
Yeah, and I do think like when they're voting, they do have to love the performance in addition to liking the person.
And it kind of like we never know, but it's like you hear this all the time, like in elections, and obviously this too. I mean, even down to like, I think we've probably talked about this around like Anthony Hopkins versus Chadwick Boseman. Publicly, everybody's going to say, "Oh my God, Chadwick Boseman, so great, rest in peace." Like, they're going to think that too.
And that's
probably, I'm not saying they're
the
bad,
narrative.
but when they go to vote, they're going to say, "I did like Anthony Hopkins more, maybe," and obviously that bore out. And with this as well, it's not direct comparison, and I wouldn't like want to minimize obviously Chadwick Boseman's death or anything, but I do think like in terms of Lily versus Emma, you might get that too, where it's like, I love Lily Gladstone. I can't wait to see everything she's going to do going forward. It is a great performance.
Wait to see Fancy Pants on Apple TV Plus later this year. So,
and I love her performance. She is great in the movie, but I think Emma Stone was better. Like I could just see people thinking that and going with that when they're voting.
Yeah, like I think a lot of it now is like, I wouldn't say most of her candidacy now is the campaign, but I think that's what a lot of people are using to back a prediction for her too. But I don't think people really vote that way, and like that can't be the only thing that's supporting you. And I do think like if someone likes another performance more, they're not gonna vote against their favorite just to make a statement for someone else. Like I think ultimately they do just vote for what they like. They could like something for various reasons, but I do think they go with that, and it's not I don't think they're thinking about like other factors like this, like we are when we're getting so granular in analyzing
I totally
these.
agree. And I can't wait if this does happen, Joyce, especially for the people who don't follow the granular. I cannot wait to see social media on Oscar night. I'm sure it'll be very calm and normal when Emma Stone wins a second Oscar
You mean just like Oscar nominations
and Lily
day?
Gladstone does not win. You're gonna have a lot of people really, really super thrilled about that, I would imagine.
It'll probably be definitely a little bit louder than when Anthony won over,
Yeah,
because that also was like, they moved Best Actor last because they thought
yeah.
Chadwick was gonna win.
That was such a shock. I think that shocked people so much. I actually think this would be like the surprise of it maybe made it even less of an outrage than this would be. Because
But
you've
I
been
think
told,
also,
like,
but I think it'll be different too, especially if Emma wins BAFTA and SAG, because the difference with that
true,
was that Chadwick won everything except BAFTA. Anthony won BAFTA. So
right. I guess if otherwise, I think that's fair. So, like, if people are like girded for this, maybe a little, but
yeah,
I'm like
it's
in the
like Emma
media,
won everything.
the media has like me included. It's like we are full on for Lily, and so then when if she doesn't win, uh, people who only were getting their stuff from like social media might be like a little like, oh my god, this is
Yeah.
an outrage. Uh, Joyce, this one's from our pal David L. Uh, Hi, Joyce and Chris. My question this week: do you think it's possible that Justine Triet could be another Martin McDonagh and not win original screenplay? I had predicted Anatomy of a Fall in my Golden Globe winner predictions because the Globes are known for going with the smarter, complex choice in that category. But the Oscar voters usually tend to vote for their favorite films, which are accessible, relatable movies in the screenplay categories, like The Holdovers, rather than making left field choices on films that have dark, complex stories. I'm not sure if Oscar voters care about wanting to vote for Anatomy of a Fall in screenplay just because they can't vote for an international feature. Tell me your thoughts.
But I think Anatomy is also a film they like.
To me, I mean, this is like a knock. This would be a diss maybe on Anatomy, but I'm like, I actually think Anatomy is like accessible, basic
It is
story.
very accessible.
It's not dark and complex. I think that
Yeah.
if you're thinking it is because it won Cannes and it's an international film, so it has subtitles, then you watch it and it's like a straight up pop pulpy soap opera, basically.
Yeah,
Uh,
this is not like zone of interest.
right. It's I think if Zone of Interest was in front runner or people really
Yeah,
liked
I'd be
it,
like, no, sorry, Chick
holdovers
Laser.
would win. But like, I actually think, I honestly think Anatomy of Fall is maybe even more basic than the holdovers, if it's possible. I mean, it is so down the middle of like modern storytelling, and the holdovers is doing that like throwback 70s cosplay a little more. I'm like, I actually don't think, like, comparing it to Martin McDonagh, I mean, it's weird because like Everything Everywhere is such a strange movie in air
Yeah,
quotes, but like, I don't
it's
know. I
it's
don't,
original in concept and a like high concept.
and like Banshees, like Anatomy of Fall is way more basic and accessible than Banshees of Inisherin, like way more.
Yeah, I think it's totally accessible. Like when I saw that in August, I was like, this is great. And it's also half in English. So that's gonna pull in even more people. Like I think it's more like Parasite,
Yeah,
like they're both, mostly non-English language films. But they're widely accessible and they're really engaging watches. And then like it's not like neither of them has like a happy ending. Like it's, the endings are complex, I guess you could say. But I do think you leave the film wanting to talk about it, which I think is important,
right.
and it's just like Anatomy, I think, it taps into like the true crime thing too that everyone's obsessed with now. And then um like like some of the discourse is just like, is that really what like French court is like? And it's like, yes. Like people are like, oh yeah, that's like, it's like super chaotic. It's like, what the fuck? So I think it's like fun to talk about and analyze. And it's I wouldn't say it's high concept like Everything Everywhere or like Get Out, that have won, but I do think like it's a movie that's surging and it already overperformed in nominations. Like it got into editing, so they clearly like it to give it 5 nominations, and now everyone is voting for the winners.
Right.
And then yeah, like I don't think like the Martin comp really works for her for, you know, what you just said. Like I think like Banshees was just a more writerly script, and even like if you don't take into account the fact that Everything Everywhere was the bigger film and was going to win 7 Oscars, like that was just the more original quote unquote concept. And I think some of them kind of take that literally, like the original name, the word in the title. So
do you think
I think it's between that and the holdovers. I don't think really any of the other ones are
I
winning.
agree. Do you think we talked about this back in probably in March or maybe even August. Like if Alexander Payne had written holdovers, do you think it would be more considered in this category, even though obviously the names maybe don't matter, right? Like you're picking the films, but like, do you think it would have been a closer race, or do you think it would have won if he wrote it?
I
Same
don't know.
movie.
I mean, I had holdovers this whole time, basically, like all throughout last year, definitely. Until like the past month. So I don't think like I mean, I think there have been more, you know, like press with Alexander Payne if he had actually written it, you know. Like he's not a nominee at all.
No.
He also didn't produce it. So I don't think they really care. Like again, I think they just vote for what they like. So if it's the holdovers, it's the holdovers, and it's for David Hemmingson.
Right. Okay.
You know, and like again, we've talked about like some people right now still do think that Alexander Payne wrote it, so they might be voting for it because they think he wrote it.
love that Alexander Payne script. It's great. Joyce, we got this week we opened our Emmy picks on the site, so we got some emails about that as well.
Oh my gosh, that was a struggle.
Wow.
Rough.
You're not kidding. It is rough out there. This one is from Lee. Hi, Joyce and Chris. I knew this Emmy cycle was going to be kind of weird because of the strikes, but I don't think I realized how top heavy the comedy and drama categories would end up being because of how few programs are eligible. Is this the worst crop of potential nominees we've ever had? And how are you choosing to fill in the bottom half of your predictions? It doesn't seem like most of these are going to appeal to Emmy voters. Joyce, I don't even know if you did your Emmy picks yet.
I did them the other night with my friend. We did them together, and it took us a really, really long time because we didn't know what to do after like 4 things in like each category. Limited was fine because there's a lot of limited options, but like
Limited
comedy
is a lot. There's a lot of limited series.
drama especially, holy shit.
I don't think comedy is actually even bad. I think there's a lot
Comedy's
of
not that bad.
comedy.
It's just comedy is mostly bad in series because you need like 2 more basically at the end.
I will
But
say
drama is like you're out after like 5.
here, we're not going to do our full Emmy picks, right? Obviously, but I have somehow these are the top 8 in the odds that I have, but I'll just read off my picks and you tell me what you think. Here's what I got. The morning show winning. So you could tell how it's going already. The Crown, The Gilded Age, Three Body Problem, which I haven't even seen yet, Netflix show from the Game of Thrones guys. The Boys, Slow Horses, The New Look, the Apple series, and Loki. And that's the top 8 in the odds. Bleak.
I have The Crown, The Morning Show, Gilded Age, which I think everyone has because it's like, come on. The Boys, Slow Horses, Fallout, Loki, and Sugar.
Okay, so you went other Amazon shows, right? Because I have oh no, so Fallout's Amazon, and what you didn't have Three Body Problem, okay.
No, and I have Sugar, which is just another
Apple show. So Sugar sounds great. Looking forward to that.
I don't know what to do here. And then yeah, I don't know. New Look, I started like watching it before because I'm at TCA and they had a panel the other day. So I started watching. I have not finished a pilot.
So the reason I put New Look in is because when I did the only reason I put it in, frankly, and again, haven't seen it, might be a great show, is because when I did the acting and actor and actress nominations, I was like, it's probably going to get an actress and actor nomination, so maybe then it would translate to series because I have Juliette Binoche
It doesn't need to.
and I have Ben Mendelsohn in.
I also have Ben because I was like, I need to. I ran out of people.
Okay, so actress again, not terrible. Like with the list, I have Emma Stone, Carrie Coon, Jennifer Aniston, Imelda Staunton, Reese Witherspoon, and Juliette Binoche. And then, but actor, it's like Nathan Fielder for The Curse is going to get nominated, maybe? Sure.
No, I don't have Emma or Nathan.
How did you fill it out?
So for actress, I have Jen, Carrie, Reese, Imelda, Ella Purnell of the Fallout.
You're really in on Fallout.
I am not. I just have nothing to put in here. And then I put in Carrie Preston for Elsbeth.
The commercials look great. Can't wait.
A Leap Day premiere. And then for actor, I did Gary Oldman. Hell yeah.
I have a meeting too.
So, okay, sidebar. So yesterday at TCA, it was like a Hallmark for a part of the day. And then like Kyler Lee is on The Way Home, this like time traveling show on Hallmark. And then someone asked them, oh, like, what time period would you want to time travel to? So like everyone answered like Annie McDowell. She was like, I'll go back to when I was younger because so I could spend more time with my mom because she died when I was 23. So like, and then Kyler Lee, she's like, I'm weird. So if Dracula were real, I would want to go back to when Gary Oldman was Dracula. And then Evan Williams was like, Gary Oldman was not actually Dracula, right? And she's like, I don't care. I just love him as Dracula.
Wow.
So Gary Oldman, number one for me here for
Sure.
Slow Horses. And then I have Dominic West, Morgan Spector of The Gilded Age.
Maybe I should put him in. Go ahead.
Colin Farrell, Anthony Starr for The Boys, and Ben Mendelsohn.
So I have Fielder and I have Tom Hiddleston.
I don't have Hiddles. I was like, I was laughing when I put Loki in series. Like, I love Loki.
It's really rough. I mean, like, it is rough. Let me ask you this. Will they be able to cut these down to 5? Hopefully.
Well, I think they'll lose slots for like acting wise, like there will be fewer submissions. So I think we're gonna lose. In supporting, I think we really need to cut slots in supporting. But I also feel like for series, because like drama and comedy are fixed at 8, and I feel like they should apply the proportional rule to drama and comedy series as well, because I don't think we need 8 slots for drama series. No offense.
Maybe you need 4 this year. Can we go down to 4? I just want to say for supporting actor and actress, I have members of the Monarch Legacy of Monsters cast, Kurt Russell in there, and for supporting actor.
I also want to say, because I saw that you did your predictions already.
Yes.
So my friend, we decided to play a game, and we're like, let's guess what Chris's other predictions are that don't match with ours. And let me tell you, she got a lot of them right. She was like Monarch. I was like,
yes.
I was like, do we know Chris or do we not know Chris? Like,
great show. Really great show.
I just have my supporting categories are just The Crown, Gilded Age, and Morning Show people, and then like a little bit of Slow Horses.
It's really rough.
Like, I don't know. And then Limited has a lot of options.
Limited is great. There's actually a lot of good shows, and like
I left a lot of things out.
It's amazing. I was like, can we add some of these people to drama series just to balance it out? Like, throw some of these nominees in for drama. I would be fine with that because there's way too many people in Limited who will miss. Like, Limited actor. Hang on, I'm gonna go to this. Let's see. Yeah, there's a lot of people. It's just a good list. Do you have Tobias Menzies in for Manhunt?
Of course I do. Manhunt, my favorite show.
I'm gonna add him right
halfway
now.
Through Manhunt, and it's like another Masters of the Year for me. Apple, home of my favorite historical dramas.
Who do you have in this category so I can figure out who I should drop to add to
Why?
Well, I have
Tom Hollander.
Yeah, same.
John Hamm, which I'm not really sure about.
He's great on it though. Yeah, he's really good.
I have Tony Shalhoub, Monk.
Wow.
Michael Douglas for Franklin,
Yeah, sure.
Tobias, and Matthias Schoenaerts for the regime.
Okay, so I might drop Andrew Scott. I have Tom, John Hamm, Michael Douglas, Andrew Scott, Aaron Pierre for Genius MLK which I watched all of this week.
So
And
that's why you put it in.
I gotta say though, he's amazing as Malcolm X. It's like he's like really, really good. So I hope he gets in. I have Matthias for Regime, and then I guess I'll drop Andrew Scott and put Tobias in.
I have like for some reason I put in Ripley in series, but I didn't put in any actor.
Let me see what I have for series. Again, this is just a chaos. I have
Series, I
Fargo.
have Fargo, True Detective, Lessons in Chemistry, The Regime, and Ripley for some. Maybe I'll put in like Griselda.
I have Griselda.
I'm gonna put in Griselda. That'll be my Inventing Anna because I do have yeah.
I have Fargo, Lessons Chemistry, Regime, Griselda, and The Sympathizer. I don't think people actually like True Detective, Joyce, so I'm not going to put it in.
Well, you know who was here yesterday? Kenya Barris, and he loves True Detective. He brought it up unprompted.
Wow.
He also went on like a minute-long spiel about how amazing Succession is. I'm like, yes.
No lies detected.
Yeah.
This is speaking of Emmy picks. This one is from Lindsay, who writes, Chris, I saw your Emmy picks, and I need to ask you about your choice of Hamish Linklater for Manhunt. Do you know something we don't know? What was your reasoning for him over Lewis Pullman? Joyce, I have not even
you
seen
not have Lewis?
I have him in second. I did not see once. I've just seen the trailer for Manhunt, and I was howling and hooting, and I was like, he's playing
it's
Lincoln.
Great.
And I was like, historical figure, transformative role, an actor who people really like. And I love Lewis Pillman in Lessons of Chemistry, but I was like, he's not really in it that much. I don't know. I'll see after I watch Manhunt if that holds. And I'm like, let's go, Abe Lincoln, win an Emmy.
So like I said, I'm halfway through Manhunt, and he does play Lincoln. They just like slapped a beard on him.
This is not a commercial. You can watch the trailer right now if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, you can watch the trailer. This is not DDL's Lincoln.
No.
So, and then it's a much more relaxed Lincoln on the show. So the show is about the hunt for John Wilkes Booth. But Hamish is actually in it a lot, even though like obviously Lincoln dies. But they do a lot of flashbacks. Right. I know, historical spoiler, Lincoln dies. And yeah, so he's actually in the show a lot. It's not like Lewis also dying in Lessons in Chemistry, and then he gets a flashback episode later on. But I would like Hamish is in every episode. He has like a scene or two in every episode because there are flashbacks. But the real supporting, even though like he's the lead, but like supporting actor in that show is Anthony Boyle because he plays John Wilkes Booth. Also of Masters of the Air. So he's
I gotta say, again, haven't watched it. From the trailer, it looks like Anthony Boyle is doing the absolute most as John Wilkes Booth.
It's such a great because he plays him as such a narcissist and like obviously, and then it's so because like when they go on the run, he has a great mustache. This show is just facial hair. Okay.
Future hair makeup.
Patton Oswalt, amazing beard.
Future hair makeup nominee.
So like there's a whole plot point about like how John Wilkes Booth has to shave his mustache so they can continue on. He doesn't want to shave it because he's like, this is me. And then he's just like reading news articles about the assassination, and he's like, do you have postage? Because I want to send this to my mom. It's just like this is like the level it is, but it's such like an easy watch. And I was talking to about it with someone last night too, and they're like, yeah, like it's great. It was like I wasn't sure what to expect when I hit play on the screeners because I didn't read the log line and the title is so generic, but it's like, oh, it's like Lincoln, and then it is like the manhunt for him is like it is I think like not underreported, but just like not widely known, like, you know. So there is like new information, but like you also have like knowledge basis for the events, you know? So, but yeah, I don't have Hamish Linklater. That's a long way.
I'm in. I'm in all the way for him.
Do you have a RDJ, future Oscar winner RDJ?
I do. I think I have him in third. Let me see. Oh, wrong. Sorry, wrong page. The website, tough sometimes. I do have RDJ. I don't have a winning. The other people I have in this category are Jonathan Bailey for Fellow Travelers, a posthumous nominee for Treat Williams for Feud, Hugh
I have
Grant for The
Treat.
Regime, and Ron Cephas Jones, who plays Elijah Muhammad in Malcolm MLKX, and is also amazing, and also be a posthumous nominee. But like,
So you
oh
have
man,
double posthumous
I
nominees.
do, but he's so good in it. It's like really, really watchable. It makes if you watch Rustin and we're like, not for me, you might also think this is not for me, but it's better than Rustin, I will say. And they have Bayard Rustin as a character played by Griffin Matthews from our favorite show, The Flight Attendant.
Love The Flight Attendant, now canceled.
And I gotta say, he's great in it as Bayard Rustin, and looks shockingly like him. At the end, they do like at the end of the series.
He looks more like him than Coleman does.
He does. Also, he's younger. I mean, like, I don't know how old. I mean, Bayard Rustin was probably, let me see. Let me see. He was, I mean, I guess Coleman's not that far off. Like, he was in his late 40s, and Griffin is like 42, it looks like. But Coleman is definitely older than late 40s, right?
Coleman is 54, but like, so he doesn't look that
He doesn't look 54, but and like it's actually fine. Like both of them are actually right for it, but I did think they found like photos of Bayard for Genius that make him look younger than he actually was during the March on Washington. So anyway, really great though. He's so good. Oh, Ron Cephas Jones is awesome. R.I.P. to a real one. He was great.
Yeah, I only have one posthumous nominee here for Treat. So I have Lewis, RDJ, Finn Bennett from True Detective.
Nice.
Joe Keery from Fargo, your fave.
I had Joe Keery in. Yeah, okay.
From True Detective, and Hugh.
True Detectives.
I have two True Detectives. So episode 5 dropping early this week on Friday to avoid the Super Bowl. Big episode.
Okay.
And also a great needle drop at the end. This is a banger from 1998. So right up my alley.
And then we got another Emmys question. Jeez Louise. This one's from Megan. Hi, Joyce and Chris. Big fan. I've been banging the slow horses drum for a while. It feels like people finally started paying attention to the show this season. So it's nice to see you both predicting the series and some of the actors. Given the state of the drama categories, what do you think its chances are? Specifically, is this Gary Oldman's Emmy? Yes, 100% think it is. I don't know who else would even.
I think it can be.
Who else is going to win that category?
I mean, we need to see the nominees, but
I'm actually hoping there's shows I don't know about that will pop. Yeah. That's what you're really banking on for some of these categories.
Yes. And that's also exciting, especially when it's not a show anyone wasn't like on anyone's radar, really. So the sun is like really shining through these.
It really is. It looks like spotlight there. That's fine. We're wrapping up here. We have one more. It was just a simple one from Caitlin, who writes, "Hi Joyce and Chris. Is it time for baseball yet?"
Almost.
Almost. Pitchers and catchers report, I believe, next week, Joyce.
Are you gonna go to any spring training?
I don't think I can. I was actually literally talking about this with my father, who was like, I think he's gonna try to go maybe, and he was looking at like the first week of March, but I actually don't know if I could go based on like, let me see. It just we have too much stuff to do. The Oscars, yeah.
I've never gone to a spring training. I usually just go to Mets games during the season. So.
Yeah, I obviously go to Mets games, but I would love to go to spring training. I just don't think the time would work out. Psyched. Mets. I was listening to a Mets podcast earlier talking about the team. I'm like, you know what? I think they're gonna be pretty good. That's my hot take.
I always just have zero expectations, so I think that's the best.
So, no other emails. If you want to email us at slugfests@goldderby.com. We'll be back next week, I guess, Joyce, with some predictions for BAFTA winners, which are the weekend of the 17th, 18th, right?
For President's Day weekend.
Can't wait. So I'll talk to you then, Joyce. Have fun in sunny California, I guess.
It's going to rain again. I survived a monsoon the past 3 days, but it's going to rain again tonight. So the sun is very brief.
Okay, goodbye.